Being able to elect your government is a privilege in many countries around the world, including in Canada. So it's a great privilege. However, we need to first ask ourselves as Canadians and future Canadians, what's coming in the next 4 years or 5 years, whatever the period, what is coming in terms of election. Whoever wins this election on April 28th, we want to know what do they say about immigration, about permanent residency and citizenship. Because as you can see in the south neighbor of United States, Canada, United States are in a very different historical moment. In the US, we see a rising technocrat or authoritarian regime or even dictatorship, some may claim. But in Canada, we want to cling on our own values and realities. So today we will be discussing three main issues. One is Canada's immigration future, competing political visions, who says what about immigration. And also we will look into the aspect, okay, from promise to policy. What do they want to implement once they are elected as a government? What political leaders say about immigration? And also in 2025, the election is very important. You can see a lot of polls. Many people have casted their votes in advance polling. So the election in 2025 is one of a kind in a way. So who's offering real solution to the problems of Canada through the lenses of immigration and population rise. So we will look into that. Canada's major political parties, they have outlined their plans. They didn't talk much about immigration. Why? To my mind, it's a hot topic. The population is more concerned about Mr. Trump in the United States and economy and so on. But immigration remains as one of top 10 topics in this election. They have said something. We will pick up their ideas in their election campaign. But what's at stake? At the moment, immigration is one of defining issues in Canada's 2025 election, with labor shortages, over 3 million temporary residents, between 2 million to 3 million, depending on how you calculate, rising pressure on housing and services. Political parties offer starkly different visions. One says, totally different things, as opposed to in previous elections, the political parties were more or less on the same page when it comes to immigration. Not this time. This time is quite different. From economic growth to rights protection to caps and cultural autonomy, all these topics are discussed in immigration. Why we want to touch on immigration? It seems that political leaders have forgotten that we are aging rapidly, right? We are aging. We don't have enough workers for certain positions, or Canadians don't want to do those jobs that others are willing to do. So economic urgency. We shouldn't forget about immigration because it's economically urgent situation. As of recent Statistics Canada data, there are almost 600,000 job vacancies at the moment. Immigrant entrepreneurs create 1 in 4 new private sector jobs. So not only job seekers, but job creators are also relevant to immigration. So we will look into this issue from different angles. Population pressure. As you know, in 2023, there was an increase in Canada's population by 1.3 million. That's a huge increase since Second World War, I think. And now it was that increase was mainly because of temporary residents like students, visitors, temporary foreign workers. Now, the debate about immigration, whenever you talk about immigration, you have to talk about population. The increasing population, the increasing population has stopped a little bit. We will look into that. But still, population pressure is the main background shadow when we talk about immigration. Temporary versus permanent. Work and study permits are tightening. You may have felt already there are many refusals in these areas. work as study permits have been capped, and also fewer clear paths to permanent residency. That's the pre-election, and hopefully this will go away after the elections. Regional and linguistic balance. Yes, Francophone targets are unmet. That's why you see that, you feel that Francophone immigration is rising, more encouraged, and many French-speaking immigrants are coming to Canada. Rural and Atlantic immigration streams remain underused. Still, not many people want to go to those provinces. This is the background where political leaders have to act. These are top four, to my mind. There are many other things at stake, but from political view, these are the challenges that they have to deal with, whether pre-election or post-election. So let's go party by party. Liberals, they have a candidate. His name is Mark Carney. He's a very educated, experienced, and seems to be leading at the moment, according to the polls. But we'll see. The election day is in a couple of days. Mark Carney's Liberals aim to welcome 395,000 new permanent residents in 2025. That's an old plan, old Liberal plan that was pivoted from 450,000 or 485,000 to be exact. They decreased it by almost 100,000. So they want to focus on economic class immigrants while capping non-permanent residents at 5% of population, which is at the moment it's like 7%, but they want to decrease to 5%, to ease housing and service pressures. So what did he say? So he set a target of 395,000 new permanent residents, which are already, most of them are already in Canada on a temporary status, right? They just will convert those individuals into permanent, which doesn't increase the population that much. So position on immigration is immigration as a pillar of economic resilience and national prosperity. They recognize we need immigration, but how much? That's where the difference comes in. Under Mark Carney, the Liberal Party aims to welcome, as I said, 395,000, prioritizing economic class immigrants via express entry and provincial nominee programs. So express entry will become more competitive, if not, I think it's the most competitive immigration program in the world, and provincial nominee programs. But for PNPs to be more active, you need to give more autonomy to the provinces. To ease housing and service pressure, they propose already, to keep non-permanent residents. So these are tourists, these are study permit holders, work permit holders, and their family members. So below 5%, but that means you have to cut down almost 250,000 or between 250 to 500,000 non-permanent residents in Canada. So you cut the flow, and in times of tariff wars, we need more tourists. And in 2026, we have a World Cup as a host nation. There will be a lot of tourists coming in. So I don't know how they will cope with that, but overall, that's their plan. The platform, the Liberal platform, also supports family reunification, refugee settlement. He mentioned during the debates that we don't have to forget humanity, so that reflects the refugee settlement, and regional immigration, reflecting a vision of immigration as essential to Canada's prosperity and global role. Now, to be honest, these Liberals are the most pro-immigration party in Canada. You can see in their track record in the last 10 years. So you can see that they welcomed a lot of immigrants, but suddenly they pivoted because of the population pressure. I think that pivot is also temporary. That's a temporary pre-election pivot, but the real deal will be after the election, because we didn't stop aging in population. We didn't stop from retiring in Canada. These problems are still persistent. Now, let's see the four factors, four steps. Express entry and PNP focus, that's given. Smoother transition from temporary to permanent residence. Remember that switching from temporary to permanent of those who are already in Canada. If you see express entry draws for the last how many months, we only focus either on French and PNP and those category based, like certain professions from outside of Canada. In a way, current government, Liberal government, and the future Liberal government, they want to just digest internal candidates first before they bring in the external candidates. So that's their logic. They aim to simplify pathways for temporary residents who are already here as workers and international students to become permanent residents. Continued support for family reunification and refugees, yes, but again, we will see how things develop. If people start moving from the US to Canada, those undocumented individuals in the US, will Canada accept them all? That's a tough question. They didn't answer that well during the election debates. Also, strengthening regional and rural immigration streams. Again, we need to see how much autonomy Liberals are ready to give to provinces in terms of selecting the candidates. Now, second candidate who is very popular is Pierre Poilievre, right, from Conservatives. He has been doing, one second, that's his message. Mainly, Conservatives propose cutting immigration to 200 to 250,000. So another 100 or even 200,000 from 395 proposed by Liberals. They want to cut it almost to half of it annually, linking intake to housing and healthcare capacity, while also tightening border controls and fast-tracking foreign credentials and recognition. So again, as I said, Liberals are more pro-immigration compared to Conservatives, but Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says we need to first fix the housing and healthcare capacity and accept according to that capacity the right number of immigrants. In his mind, it is in his political party's mind, it's 200,000 to 250,000 annual permanent residents to Canada. To delve into more detail on their platform, it's focused on sustainability, security, and economic alignment. Their strategy aims to ease pressure on housing and services while prioritizing skilled worker and public safety. As I said, lower immigration levels between 200 to 250,000, tied to infrastructure, matching their immigration levels with available housing and services and healthcare services. Tougher borders. They want stricter borders, probably more deportations. That's the theme. Faster credential recognition, and I give it to them. Yes, we need faster credentials to be recognized because we bring great people, but we don't allow them to work in their profession. So that's speed up approval for foreign trained professionals, especially in healthcare. I give it to them. That's a great idea, and I support this part of their platform. Reform work permit programs. Overhaul temporary foreign worker programs to prevent abuse and protect local jobs. So again, if Conservatives come to rule Canada, things will become more difficult than the Liberals envision their management of immigration. But again, these are reasonable points driven by the capacity and economic alignment. I give it to Conservatives. Both Liberals have good ideas, Conservatives have good ideas. And let's see what others said. The other incumbent political parties like NDP and Bloc Québécois. So NDP is I would say, is more humanitarian in terms of immigration. NDP proposes granting permanent residence status to undocumented residents. Yes, we have undocumented residents in Canada. How many? We don't exactly know, but they want to regularize between 200 to 500,000 individuals, thereby enhancing their rights and contributions to Canada's economy. So if we go with these numbers proposed by Mr. Singh, if it's annual number like 200,000 to 500,000, that many undocumented people are in Canada. So you can estimate a little bit. So again, Jagmeet Singh's party, NDP, envisions an immigration system rooted in fairness, inclusion, and human rights. So see, the vision is a bit different than other two parties. Their 2025 platform focuses on undocumented residents, ending the abuse of temporary foreign workers, expanding refugee support. That's the only party that is clearly talking about refugees and supporting refugees, and family unification, reunification. That's given. Yeah, this is, in my mind, if they come to power, which is highly unlikely because they are not as strong as conservatives or liberals, but if they become official opposition, they can push the elected government to do things in their platform. Bloc Québécois, the strongest territory is Quebec. Yves François Blanchet is also advocating for Quebec's exclusive control over immigration. That's more autonomy to the province. And if Quebec succeeds in getting more autonomy, imagine other provinces will demand the same. They aim to prioritize French-speaking applicants, which is already a priority in express entry system, as you can see, and preserve the province's cultural identity. It's more about Quebec. It's more about Francophone communities, not only in Quebec, but across the country. We've been seeing many Francophone selections in the latest express entry pool, express entry draws, and it's quite impressive. So we want to spread Francophone communities not only within the territory of Quebec, but also in Ontario, in British Columbia, New Brunswick, and other places. So what Yves François Blanchet wants is full control of immigration, that immigration flows coming into Quebec. As you know, usually the refugees, they cross into Quebec from the United States into Quebec, and Quebec has to deal with the flow and accommodation and other stuff. So under Blanchet, the Bloc Québécois emphasizes Quebec's sovereignty in immigration matters, focusing on protecting the French language and cultural heritage. Yes, this is given and respected. Prioritizing French language, as I said already, is priority, as I can see in the express entry. It's at least 30-35% of draws are going to Francophone immigration. Okay, to be more specific, they want French language skills to be at level 7 in speaking and level 5 in writing, reflecting province's commitment to preserving its linguistic heritage. Yes, if you can see that Quebec investor immigrant program requires you to speak French, right? Even investors that are coming to Quebec need to be speaking good French, so which is the problem with Mark Carney at the moment. He doesn't have the most developed French, but he's trying his best. We'll see how it goes when if he becomes Prime Minister of Canada. Now, having said this, let me do this. Okay. Final thoughts before we get to your questions. Let's discuss. It's not just me lecturing you, or you need to challenge me too. Just I don't know what elections will end up being, but we are in election mode, and my final thoughts is immigration is a defining issue. Whether we like it or not, Canada is built on immigration, for immigration, and will be run by immigration going forward. So it's not. Yes, there are some nationalistic feelings across the border in the US, anti-immigration feelings, but Canada is not that place. We welcome immigrants. It just depends what kind of immigrants we want to have in Canada. The political parties are talking about it, people are talking about it, and let's see what the future, next 3 months will be very pivotal in that sense. So immigration is a defining issue. Each party offers a different vision. We can see that some are more humanitarian, some are more economic. Voters must consider who has the most realistic and forward-looking plan. What do you think? Who has the most realistic plan? Is it doable that we decrease the number of immigrants? Can we survive? Now Canada wants to open to new markets other than the US market. Do we need immigrants? I published recently an article, go check it on sobirovs.com website. I argue that we need immigrants to help us open different world markets for Canadian products. So if you decide to come to Canada, whether after election or not, we are here to help. We will listen to you, we will understand your goals and find a solution and adopt the right strategy with patience, of course. Things are moving and we learn every day, something new comes up, but patiently executing the strategy with us. And when you focus on business, on running your business, immigration will be done by us. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact us today. Your questions are very important. Now it's time for us to go into your questions. Let's take a quick break now and come back to answer your questions.
To stay updated on all things related to Canadian business immigration, check us out on social media. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for the latest news and updates. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notification bell to stay informed about the most recent immigration news, interviews with top immigration specialists, and our weekly live shows. Visit our website at www.sobirovs.com for more information or to book a consultation with our team of experts.
Okay, time for your questions. Thank you for your active participation. I can see William Murdoch is saying, God, save our land from evil spirits, liberals, and it's Satan carney. Okay, it's your opinion, and it's a personal opinion, I believe, and all personal opinions are respected as long as within the legal framework. Well, thank you for comment. What can I say? I cannot defend one side and not defend the other side. All political leaders have their own criticism, well-deserved in a way. Not only liberals, but also conservatives, especially in light of what's going on down in the South with Mr. Trump and how he is treating immigrants. We don't want to be something like that, right? Or even closer to that scenario. And as you can see, William, we are getting older. We don't have enough population birth, right? And what can we do? If we don't become a resilient economy with the technology and people and whatnot, we need to change for sure. And I agree I can assume that you want a change. Yes, I want the change too. But what kind of change? It's so unpredictable. Every day we hear someone saying Canada is 51st state of the United States, which is outrageous. And to be frank, it's very offending. But we have to deal with these realities. We don't choose our neighbors, unfortunately. Sometimes we do, but not in this case. Geography keeps us as neighbors. We'll see how it goes, and thank you for your opinion. I respect that. Next is question from website. Who has a better long-term vision for Canada's future? Poilievre's focus on limits and affordability, or Carney's push for growth through immigration and innovation? Well, I think in a way Carney is not pushing that hard. Yes, he says immigration is one of the economic pillars of Canada. I think mixture of both would be great. So let's say we take some elements from Carney's platforms and we take some elements from Poilievre's platform and mix them, make a hybrid. Because to be honest, liberals have shown some bad behavior in the last 10 years. But at the same time, we don't want to be as strict as Mr. Trump, right? So some mixture, some balance, because Canadians have always maintained balance. During the Cold War, we were the balancing nation. During, in many economic crises, we were balanced. We adopted a balanced approach, and we succeeded. So in this scenario, in this crisis, we should do a hybrid balanced approach. I cannot say this is a better vision and that is not a good vision. As I presented in my slides, there are certain elements that I respect in conservative platform. There are certain elements that I respect in a liberal platform, as well as in the NDP platform, because we have welcomed many humanitarian and refugee applicants in the history, right? Be it Vietnam, be it then Afghanistan, then Bosnia, Serbia, and all the Hungarians came over, Second World War, everybody came over to Canada. So we shouldn't betray our history when we are looking into the future. So my answer would be that. If we have any other questions, let's discuss those. Okay, question from LinkedIn. How will the outcome of 2025 Canadian federal election impact immigration policies? And our prediction markets like Polymarket correctly anticipating a shift. Well, Polymarket and other survey results, they are just predictions, right? Who predicted that Donald Trump would be doing this? Nobody. Even MAGA supporters are now surprised. Now, even if we predict anything, we will have to live through it, right? We need to see what comes after the election. To my mind, there will be a lot of adjustments, because if liberals continue to be at the head of the government, we'll have to see a lot of change, because they already started pivoting before the election. Now, it will affect, but I don't know how. Looking at the platforms, it seems that liberals have more balanced approach, not strictly cutting, the flow of immigrants by almost 60%, as suggested by Poilievre. Now we will see immigration is needed, but how much? That's a debatable topic. 400,000, yes, I think around 300,000 people die each year in Canada. So to substitute that with 400,000 is a healthy balance to my mind. So we will see. That's again subject to the reaction by the newly elected government. We'll start seeing it in the next 3 to 6 months. Another question I think came up from our audience in advance, from Facebook. How might changing climate policies affect Canada's appeal to immigrants, entrepreneurs, and investors looking for a stable future? That's a very problematic question, to be honest. At the moment, when you look in the United States, they are trying to attract entrepreneurs and certain type of immigrants by, creating golden cards or whatnot. Canada needs to seize this opportunity to create its own new programs. One thing that I'm pretty sure about is after the election, we will have new immigration programs, perhaps tailored towards certain type of immigrants, be it entrepreneurs or investors. If you look into the other countries, many countries are shrinking their intake, whereas we have a great opportunity to be cherry picking the immigrants and investors and entrepreneurs. If there will be policy change, the climate change, at the moment I hear that many European businesses are interested in Canada because of the tariffs. They are stockpiling their products on Canadian territory, like chocolate manufacturers, Lind and others. Chinese manufacturers are bringing their products to Canada, stockpiling them here, and in an anticipation to resolve the issues with tariffs in the United States. Whether we like it or not, Canada is very close to to the biggest market in the world, US, and we should play a role in kind of transitioning or transmitting between US and Canada and other market players in the world. So we'll see how it goes. I think it is what it is. It's still appealing, but we don't have many great entrepreneur immigration programs at the moment. I hope that the new government will come up with new programs for investors and entrepreneurs, because many small and medium businesses in Canada are going out of market because of the current economic crisis, and many Canadians are retiring from business, and we want new generation of entrepreneurs to take over from them. That's my wish. I hope it will be realized by the new government. So whether you are a Canadian or not Canadian, please monitor the elections, and let's touch base again when we have a government in place next week, hopefully. Send us your questions, and thank you for your active participation. See you next week. Bye-bye.